Hello, my name is Joe Hemmings and welcome to Humanising Salon Leadership. This is episode 4 and this was all about recruiting and hiring. Why I do it, how I do it, the things I look for, and what's going to tell you when I got it right and when I got it wrong. But first of all, I want to just go back to when I first started my business. And when I sort of started to recruit and employ people, a lot of people were telling me, don't do it, you're silly, you're a fool, it's hard work, all that sort of negative sort of energy. But for me personally, the only way we can actually grow and build a business is through employment. And that's really why I do what I do. The second sort of topic at the moment in our industry, all about sort of our teams being unmotivated and don't want to work and that kind of thing. And once again, for me personally, it comes down to the environment they're in. When I think of my children, and my oldest child, my oldest daughter, has just changed nurseries. And her development and her growth and her happiness is so different to how it was before. It's all about the environment she's in. The same thing as relationships at home. If you're in a bad relationship, you're not your best version of yourself. So like at our home lives, in our work lives, you should be in the correct environment, for us as individuals. And that's when actually the interview process, recruiting and hiring the right people is the most important thing we can do as leaders. Now, the interview process. This is something that, for me personally, it's not actually an interview. It's just a chat. I go out of the salon, so it's never in the salon. I try and create a relaxed environment where I break down the barriers of a job interview, I say. And I want the candidate to be as relaxed and as normal as it can be, and as open as it can be. That's how you can really find out who they really are, their true self. And once again, for me, I want to be my true self and how I'm going to be with them on their career journey in the company. And all I'm really doing in this environment is actually just chatting and talking. It's nothing about hairdressing at all. But I'm trying to just test and just to see if what I'm saying to them or what I'm telling the individual, they actually enjoy, they actually like. Can I communicate with them? Can I work with them? I can guarantee over their career path in the company, I'll have to have numerous chats with them on lots of topics. So I have to understand, or I have to feel myself that they understand me. I can communicate with them, I can be honest with them. And I sort of learned over the years myself how I am as a person and the kind of people that I like to work with and the kind of people that I can communicate with. So all I'm really doing in the interview process is testing the water, trying to understand the individual and just see if I can actually work with them, communicate with them. And can they sing with me? Can they talk to me? Can they communicate with me? And I think the reason this is so important is the culture in the company is it's a certain way. And the people that we bring into the salons have to be able to work that way. Like there's no hierarchy, and my senior team members are also the ones that turn up on time, stay late, support, help the team. They're not the ones sat in the staff room on their phones. So getting that message across. The reason also that I do it out of the salon is so it sort of sets the tone. We're not a rigid business. We like to be fluid and move. And therefore, I sort of set that from day one. So the individual, during that interview process, isn't going to get a different me or a different business when they join the company, and vice versa. Now, I've got this right and wrong on numerous occasions, but I think my biggest success story in the company is actually my first ever team member that I employed. She's called Esther, and she's actually still in the company now. And when I first was looking to take her on, I had loads of CVs coming in, and the CVs were to die for. It was a who's who of what they've done, where they've worked, who they are. When I was chatting to them, I didn't get a good feeling. In my head I was thinking, you are going to be a headache. You are going to give me issues. I was also learning how to manage and employ for the first time. So I needed someone that understood me, I could work with. And they were promising bringing clientele, and obviously when you start a business, money is really important. And the thought of having somebody with a clientele coming in was really sort of like, it was a great feeling. But long term, it would have been a nightmare. And actually, when I met Esther for the first time, she was still actually doing her MVQ at the time. But there's something about her, something that a feeling that I picked up of just being a nice person, being honest, being open, being truthful, and actually understanding. So, that had nothing to do with her qualifications or her hair experience or skill. It's pretty like her as a person. I spoke about her background and what she'd been doing, where she'd been doing it, who she is, what makes her tick, what motivates her. And just her work ethic was incredible, and she expressed that during the interview process. So I took her on. And she went on to become fully booked, a L'Oreal colour specialist with a degree, the L'Oreal Innovation Art Team, ID artist, finalist for the Colour Trophy numerous times. And really she also is one of my most senior members of the company, and someone that sets the culture and the environment from the top down. I think that's a massive lesson that I've learned, that it's the people that make the business, not the skills. We can teach the skills no matter what. One of my worst things that I've ever done, and actually one of the times I got this wrong, was I was desperate for a team member. I had a huge gap in the company. I needed to fill it. I remember actually speaking to this person 2 or 3 times. And that's actually also a red flag. If I'm not given the job on the first meeting, that tells me is a reason why. And on the 3rd or 4th time I met this person, deep down in my gut, I knew it was wrong. I remember sitting there thinking, they actually popped to the toilet. I was thinking, how can I get out of this? How can I not go through with this? But I felt on this side of my head, I was desperate to fill a role. And I gave the role out, and I shouldn't have, and it didn't end well. And actually, you realise how wrong you have it when people leave, and the disruption and what gets said afterwards, that you really realise how wrong you got it. And I knew deep down in my gut that was wrong, and I was sort of forced myself to go along with it. Massive lesson learned, and I won't do it again. One thing I don't also believe in is trade tests. And if I can't give the job to somebody on the first time I meet them, there's obviously a reason. And I think trade tests, there's the most unnatural environment for everyone, for the candidate and for myself. And also, for me then to go over and actually go through the haircut or go through the colour, it's nuts. Who am I to pull someone else's haircut apart and find areas that are wrong? All I really care about is, can that individual communicate with the client, create what the client wants, give the client the service that they want, and will the client rebook? That's not down to me, that's down to them. And forcing that environment when it's false, it's high pressured, it's just not natural. And I think what I'm trying to get at here is, I'm trying to keep it as relaxed and informal as possible from start to finish. And really rely on my gut feeling and my senses, and judging the person and working out, can I work with that person? And that's really what I go for. And I hope this video has been interesting. You flagged up some questions maybe of yourself when you're in process. And I hope you enjoy what I'm talking about. If any other topics you're interested in or anything else you're struggling, please reach out. subscribe, pop a comment below. I look forward to networking, look forward to communicating with you, and hopefully sort of discussing topics that we're all struggling with. My name's Joe Hemmings. Hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll catch up soon.